Snap fail. Awesome.
We played it.
Today we're discussing, let's try that again.
Okay, speed. Count with three.
Yeah, what is this?
One clap. 1, 2, 3.
That was the best one ever. Okay.
Oh, I only had one clap.
It's a good thing we're professionals here.
God's sake. It's okay.
But did you ever disappear into your imagination as a hooker in a board?
Hi everybody and welcome to episode 9 of Knights at the Round Table. Today we're discussing Destiny's Blood by Murray-Bergquist. This is a book about a young flower shop owner who has quite the destiny in front of her. And I don't want to say much more than that because it'll give too much away. So I think I'll start with first impressions of the book.
Very first impressions, when I first started, I wasn't so sure I was going to enjoy it because it started out weak, but it got better, and so I was glad I continued reading because it was worthwhile, but it started out weak in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It started out weak enough that I didn't get past the beginning. But maybe I will try. I'm not feeling hugely inspired to keep going though, because it just isn't doing it for me.
Okay, so yes, actually I agree. It took me quite a while to get into the book, but once I was in, with a couple of exceptions where I was left asking a number of questions.
Yes.
I really enjoyed the story. So it was a good book, but yes, it is something that you'll have to stick with for the first couple of chapters before you really start to get into
Several chapters.
the moment. What chapter are you in?
4, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah.
A couple of couples.
Yeah, a couple of couples.
I think it depends on who you've met so far.
I'm just past the point where what's his name and the drunk guy end up in her cell.
Oh, that's only in chapter 4.
Or maybe it's past that. I
Arden
don't
and
know.
Lang.
Yeah, that's the part of
That
that.
seems early. Huh. Yeah, it gets better from there.
I'm starting to care now.
It gets better from
A
there.
little. But I don't know, I didn't like her as a character.
Layla?
Yeah.
None of them really did huge things for me as characters. I mean, I'm like, sure. I mean, it was a good enough book, but I wouldn't have said, yeah, you have to read it. It's super fantastic. But I read for character and not for
Well,
plot.
Arden and his
So,
sister.
yes.
I found them,
The relevant.
when they came into it, I mean, I was already a couple of chapters in, and I was just like, I just want this to be over. But when they came into it, I know that sounds really harsh for those
No,
who
but
know
it's
what,
fair.
but when they came into it, I was like, okay, them I like. Now, if I just wish the plots had been reversed, where
Yes.
like if she'd started by writing about them, then I would have been into it a lot more and could have handled the parts that I didn't like so much, which was everything with the other girl in it.
Fair enough.
I do have to,
I
as far as characters go, Avian is by far my favorite.
Yeah, she's entertaining.
Yeah.
I like them
Pretty
both, her
hilarious.
and brother. They're
Yeah,
both
Avian and
fun.
Arden? Yeah.
And they have good play off each other.
Yes.
They're amusing.
And they're not annoyingly odd for no reason except for it to be odd. Like, why is there a plant girl? Just because. Like, because you wanted some weird life form. Like, I don't know, it just, okay. It just, yeah.
I like the Berganas actually.
I liked them, but it just seemed really like, I should put an odd life form in here kind of thing. Like, Madeline's
Is she the
version
only
of
one?
writing.
Is she the only one who really ever shows up? Like, I don't know.
Well, except for the
There's a,
torturer guy.
yeah, I forget.
Oh yeah.
But they're the only
Funny
two.
color eyes.
Kilata or Kilta
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
like that.
And I don't have any idea what he actually looked like.
There
All I
are
know is he's
Aside from
orange.
the eyes.
orange eyes, orange
Yeah,
blood.
something orange. All I know. But yeah, they're
Very
the only
empty.
ones.
Yeah, aside from the torture,
The Dutch NDP.
the Dutch
And
and
they're torturing.
Yeah.
Sugar.
chocolate.
But yeah, I don't know. Some of it just seemed like checking off points that you need to include in this kind of a book. And it
Yeah, I
was
feel like
just
with that you either need to go the route of everybody's human or there are many, many races.
Yes.
When you're kind of in the middle, it gets a little muddly.
Yes.
Well, further on in the book, I'm not sure if you got that, they do mention other ether races?
They mention them, but they don't show up.
No,
Well,
they don't.
You don't really-
I'm 75% in, so.
Yeah, okay.
Learn much of, I don't know.
No, there's
you really
the
learn
two
much about it?
propagandas, and
Yeah.
then there's the
Kilta.
kilta. Is it a kilta?
Yes.
I feel like I'm missing a syllable.
Or
I feel like there's an I.
Yeah, there's an
Another
extra I in there
Kilta
somewhere,
or
but-
something. I don't know.
Well, I'm calling her Layla too, because it's great.
I was calling her Layla as well,
I'm
and
like-
then she was talking about like fake variations of her name, and one of them was Layla. I'm like, then what the hell's your name? Because it looks like Layla to me.
There's some
You know.
extra syllable in there that,
Layla.
yeah, but it still looks like Layla.
It totally looks like Layla.
I went to the reading for the final book of this series, so this is how I know the pronunciation for all the
Okay,
characters.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I knew in my head that it was pronounced differently, but I'm just like, screw it, no. I don't care.
I don't know. I didn't. I just honestly until that moment I just thought it was Layla. I mean, lots of people add weird letters into their names but still pronounce them as normal basic names. Like I've seen Jasmine spelled like Jassmynn.
Yeah, which should
and I'm like,
never happen in life, but that's
Why?
another
Why?
conversation.
Why? Why not?
because it's useless and pointless and pisses me off. Get a grip, humanity.
You might as well
You're not
dot
that
your-
special.
You might as well dot your I's with little hearts if you're gonna spell your name that way. Like,
But to be fair, I like the alternate spellings of my name.
But they make sense. You're not adding.
what are the other ones except for using a Y?
J. S-O-N-J.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not retarded. Yeah, I don't know. There's a difference.
Those all make sense. It's the adding extra letters for the sake of adding extra letters.
Yes.
Just
Or
to make it
making
look
things
fancy.
Y when they don't need to be. Like if you spell April with a Y, I'm sorry. No.
It looks pretty.
It looks stupid. It
could
looks
be
like your
Welsh.
IQ is not 50. No. No. Tangent. Anyway.
So, Karen.
We have strong feelings about
I've met
names.
2 that I like so far.
You don't like the captain, what's his name? Zoltan?
She doesn't know him.
I don't really know him yet.
If she sat early on, she wouldn't have met him.
Yes, you would have.
No, not at that
When?
point.
When does he come into it?
Not that-
No, the name is really
Well,
familiar.
okay, yes, but he doesn't have a name at that point.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Alright, fair enough. I would imagine you would like him.
And he doesn't exist enough to have a personality either.
Well,
At that point.
well, no, at that point, no, he doesn't.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
he's just a random savvy figure that looks like.
Yeah.
That looks tough.
Yes.
With a big ass sword on his back. That's why I like him.
Oh, that dude.
Oh, I didn't pay that much attention to the details.
Well, there
Was
weren't
he wearing a sword? Or?
Yes.
Sure.
giant sword. There weren't that many details either, which is probably why I had a lot of questions further on in the book.
And when there were details, I was just like, eh? I don't understand what that means. Like, why you want her to drop the shield of the planet? Because something about the sun and getting trapped in none of this makes any sense in any way. It's like you just pick words and put them together to find an explanation.
Now, see that it took me a little bit of thought, but that I got. What I didn't get were the tar creatures.
That I haven't got that far yet. no.
Okay.
I got to the whatever the wraiths. I'm like, what?
The wraiths, yeah.
Where did that come from?
There's another creature where I'm like, wait, what?
And
that-
why?
That was the tar creatures in the book for me, and it would have been nice if some explanation as to how they came about was included, because at that point it feels like just a plot device.
Yes,
to have
I need
something
conflict.
attack. Yeah.
So therefore, I will create this thing.
Now, I do imagine that there is an incredible backstory that has to do with the trapped ether with these creatures, but it would have been really nice to have an explanation.
I think that's generous of you.
Well,
You're assuming that there's this great backstory when I think that's just
Well, see,
like,
'cause-
I need it to sound really technical and something.
part of
weird.
the issue I have when I'm writing is I know so much about the worlds I'm writing
Yes.
that I often make the assumption that everybody reading knows what I know, but they don't.
Right.
Right, so I'm assuming sort of the same thing happened here, and it just kind of makes sense that the trapped ether would turn, I don't know, something that already exists.
None of it makes sense. I read it and I don't understand what it means. I'm like, no.
All makes sense to me.
And if I have to read it multiple times to try and figure out what she's saying it badly.
Yeah, well,
That's it. If I don't understand what you're saying in your book, you're saying it badly. Unless it's in Latin, in which case, you know, if you're writing in English, though, I should be able to get it.
Yes.
Yes.
No, but no, I agree.
Well, if your reader can't understand what you're saying, you're completely missing the point of writing your story. The point is for them to get it.
Yeah, that's true, and that it did warrant a lot more explanation than what was given. Though I do like the speed of the book, to say.
Yes, it's
like
paced quite nicely, except for at the very beginning.
Yeah, except for at the very beginning.
Yes.
Yes, it does pick up, and then there's a lot of action, and there's a really awesome anime-style fight at the end.
Although I am hitting
not there
this point where I'm tired of, oh, they're dead, oh, they're not, oh, they're dead, oh, maybe they're dead, I don't know, are they dead? Let's just figure it out.
Oh, it's almost like an episode of Supernatural.
I was about to say that.
No, it's like, no, they're always coming back. It's not even a question.
They're just like, skip the dying business and just get back to the tearful reunion.
Right?
We know it's coming.
There's a really awesome, I don't think you're there yet, fight at the end between Zoltan and Duncat.
Okay, yeah.
And it's
Haven't been there yet, but no, now
it's very, very anime. And you will understand
what
when
sense?
you look. Just sort
Okay.
of
In the sense that it's a series of pictures.
that move.
Yes.
But no, when you read it, you'll understand. There's a
Okay.
whole lot of.
Do they say pow and bath a lot, or what?
I think there's a Hadouken in there somewhere.
If only.
And that actually was the highlight for me of the book, was that fight. I really enjoyed that fight a lot.
I'm gonna have to remember to not skim over that part. Because fights at a certain point after there's been like enough of them, I'm like, oh, you're dead again. I'm like, okay, you know, what's happening?
I love battle scenes. I love them so
But it's
much.
shocking. I don't like them in writing as much as I like to see them. In writing,
Fair enough.
They are hard to write interestingly.
yes. For anyone.
Which is probably why David Eddings.
Which is what I was going to say about the Diamond Throne, is what I appreciated so much about that part, is like they started the battle and then it cuts to them ending the battle. I'm like, good.
That's
I
because you
don't
know
need all that
you
middle
can't-
rubbish.
Yes.
I love the discussion of strategies, etc.
The discussion of strategies, I like the plotting parts. It's just the, they're charging at each other again. Many more men were felled that
And on the
day.
left flank is.
It's like,
Okay.
you know,
Yes. Fair enough.
move on.
Yeah. Exactly.
Get a better life.
But no, if I can't visualize it, and most of the time I can't.
Okay, and this is what I mean, because in my head when I was
Yeah.
reading this, it literally played out like an anime film.
Right.
Like an anime battle sequence. It was pretty awesome, actually. Because the images in my head were awesome.
I can always imagine it better if it's not explicitly described.
Well, that's it. I get too lost in the details. I'm like, well, what does that mean?
And then trying too
This
hard
book
to
does not
abstract
suffer from an overabundance of detail.
That's true.
So this battle scene is not especially detailed.
Although at a certain point, there was one scene where Arden is in the shuttle and he's going back to the Destiny and he landed or he didn't land, and I'm confused because I thought he
Yeah,
did, but did he not land?
And then he blows up the ship. Because
Why? I don't know why.
No,
Just to be dramatic. And then it's one of those moments where I was like,
Well, I have those
Yeah.
days where I'm just like, screw this.
I literally stopped reading. I'm like, wait, what? Did he just kill the captain?
yes. Or, well, no, probably not, because nobody's really dead. But,
I will second that, because at the end of the book, the Destiny makes an appearance again.
of course it does.
Yeah.
Right? It survived being exploded, even though it's on its last legs, and you can literally hear the metal of the ship moaning in, like,
As it's
horror.
crumbling.
But, you know, it survives being shot at.
I always have a soft spot for the ships, though. So, you know.
Well, because they always...
I said this before, okay, Captain Mal.
I said that last time, which was the only part of that stupid book I liked was the ship. The only character I had any sympathy for in that book is the ship. This one's going the same way.
Ever have a ship that's in good repair in the books? Like, there's always a ship
No.
that's, like, totally falling apart.
The hero ship, the bad guy ship is always excellent.
Well, I
Yeah,
guess that's true.
because they have all the money laundering operations to keep her in good shape.
Speaking of that last ship
Good
battle,
honesty.
where the Destiny is destroyed,
Yeah.
those are the slowest torpedoes on the face of the planet.
The shield saved them.
Which planet?
The one that they're hovering outside of.
Which took me a while to figure out because is it a star or is it a planet? Apparently they're both.
No, they're on a planet and the star is
but at first they keep making reference to being from the first star into the first star. I'm like, okay, you can't live in a star, so let's be real. What's happening here? So it wasn't clear to me at first.
Yeah.
I even have a note in mind. I'm like, you can't live in a star. It's not possible.
The Chronicles of Riddick would disagree.
I have to watch that only
Yes, we
because Katie Sackhoff.
Wait, is she?
Yeah.
The latest one, yes. Trust me, I'm right. I know these things.
What's the latest one? Just Riddick. Oh, just Riddick. Okay, no, because I'm like, Chronicles of Riddick. No, she's not in that one.
Not that one, and the latest one.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Divergence again.
Yes. And we should steer back before I get lost.
In thoughts of Riddick.
Yes.
There were some really beautifully written paragraphs, and I wrote one, or sentences, I wrote one here, where they talk about the future, and is it already written in the books, or is the pen still waiting to ink the page? I thought was a very beautiful turn of phrase, so I made note of it, because I think
do
it's
like
important.
It is a good turn of phrase, yes.
There were some very beautiful words. I don't know, it was like,
I don't
there were
know
a
if
lot
I
of,
found anything beautiful.
well, no, there were a lot of times where I was reading, and maybe it was just because I was, tired and semi-brain dead, but I was reading and I was like, I realized I'd read a page, and it had kind of been like poetry, where it also was like very musical and da-di-da-di-da, but I realized I didn't actually know what any of it meant.
Right.
Which is basically how I got through English class a lot of the time, because I didn't know poetry. So then I'd have to go back and actually pay more attention and sift through to figure out what was happening.
Yeah. See, I didn't find any of it that.
There were a couple of pages like that talking about in the flower shop in like the first chapter about her feelings about the flower shop and what the different flowers were doing.
Well, see, that just made me want to stab her.
How dare you have a gentle soul?
Well, it's annoying.
Well, this is what it was a little bit like
I'm like, okay, you're crying again. Like, I don't know. She's
well,
just
to be
super
fair, I think
bit-
that's why I didn't like her right from the beginning, because she was
Fuck up, man. Like, come on.
pull yourself together. I want to care about you, but it's hard when you have yet to do anything.
And not be a complete.
There's
can't
a
think
lot
of
of
a
crying.
polite
There's a
word
lot
for
of
it.
complaining. There's a lot of
My sister
being
was single mother of
scared.
everything.
Sister angst.
yes, which normally affects me in ways that aren't annoyance. But this time I was just like.
She didn't come across at the front end of the book, at least, to be a very particularly strong character.
And not a character that I really could find much empathy for. I don't know.
Just take a breath, man.
I don't know.
Seriously.
Yeah. She bothered me. She had her life dream explode in front of her. Like literally go up in flames. I would be crying too.
But I mean, she's always sort of on the brink of
I haven't
it.
gotten to that part.
No.
Oh, you haven't got where the flower shop exploded?
Nope.
Oh, it's rubble.
Oh, there you go. See, then I would be sad. But at this point, she's all,
And you know what? She's not actually that sad about it at the end of the day. Like, she stops to grieve for a few minutes, but they never really talk about it. And so it's just at the front end, she's just always like, my heart. I'm just like, oh.
yeah.
No.
She is the tough heroine to get behind, I think.
Which is why the book should primarily be about what's his name and what's her face, the fun one.
Arjun and Evian.
Yes, that.
The Malavants.
Yeah, which is a
Who
great
have a
name.
really- Yeah, they have, every time I read that though, I'm like, the Malevolence! Wait, no! That's wrong. Whoops.
Why are they bad names? What is that? But yes, and yeah, there was just certain things that near the end that of course, do you care if I spoil you? Go for it. I'm like, of course one of them is meant to be queen. Because nobody's ever just a regular person in these books, ever.
Yeah.
Oh, actually,
Anything with the word destiny in it, you're going to be royalty or something.
Yeah.
It just annoys me.
there is also a weird discord because the tradition is that if two are born
And
and
it's
are
like,
killed.
why?
I don't know why. It's something to do with their.
Throwing off the balance, which seems counterintuitive to twins.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But then they have an aunt. Was she not supposed to be killed?
she's not a twin.
But that does that matter? Because they can only be.
I'm
one.
assuming it matters.
Okay. Because I was confused about that.
Well, the aunt's a bitch anyway, but regardless, I had assumed it only had to do with twins. But at the same time, I still don't understand why it's a thing to begin with, because, you know, you'd think if you were going to hang 90% of your plot on the fact that one twin has to die, you would explain why. And she didn't.
Not very well though. She did, but not very well.
It throws off the balance. It's not an explanation. It's not the force. Just tell me, because, you know.
Balance throws off. It does.
Okay, twins, they restore balance. Their names are day and night, for crying out loud. Everything about them is balanced, so that doesn't make any sense. Anyway,
Fair enough.
but
So we've talked a lot of the things we had issues with the book. What are some of the things that you really liked about the book?
really,
Or liked?
like Jazz said, I liked Aryan and Avian. But in terms of nothing else really, the story was good. I followed it. I was curious to know what was going to happen next, but there wasn't anything like I really liked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you haven't read enough to answer that question.
I like the kids and their ship.
That's
Fair enough.
It's fun.
Alright. I thought it was actually quite a good story, even though we've been talking a lot about the problems with it. It was fast-paced, which was always entertaining.
Yes.
I really liked Zoltan with his sword. And the anime fight at the end, that was awesome. That made me happy.
I'm surprised at who he was married to, by the way.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
oh, okay.
Yes.
He's married to.
I just got to that part.
Spoiler alert at the end.
No, the bitchy end.
The bitchy aunt.
I don't know.
Because there's any other aunt?
No, we're not going away. And bitchy is to put it mildly, because I just also found out.
Oh, wait, yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so there are a couple of plot twists and surprises, and I thought it was really, really enjoyable. Perhaps something for a slightly younger audience, I think.
Yeah, I think it was a good, probably not like tonight, but I intend to finish it. I certainly want to know how it ends. But, so, it was a good story overall. I certainly have no criticisms in terms of the overall plot.
Yeah. It was worth the read.
Yes. I don't know, depending on what the last quarter of the book ends up being like and how it ends, whether I go on to read the second or third, I don't know. Would you read the second or third? Though?
Yes, I would. They wouldn't be at the top of my list, but they're
Right.
certainly in my list at the moment. Yeah, I do want to finish out the series. It does get way more interesting.
Well, I was going to say, because I usually trust both of your judgment about books, but from where I am in it right now, I am not feeling particularly inclined to finish it. It just hasn't engaged me. I don't care enough. I mean, if it really gets that much better, then I guess I should, but...
Don't feel obligated. I mean, it does get better, and I would encourage you to keep reading, but at the same time, if it hasn't gotten you, it hasn't gotten you, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are other things you want to read.
I want to finish The Diamond Throne. I'm much more excited to finish The Diamond Throne than I am to finish this one.
Yeah, I just finished the Ruby Knight for the first time in a few years last week.
Well, like I said, I have to read Dangerous Women, so
I do want to read that too.
I will be writing a review about it for Capital Eco Policy. Sweet.
Shameless plug!
Yes.
Okay. So if you were to give this book a rating out of 5 stars, from what you've read so far, what would you give it?
I would give it 3.
Wow, that's more than I would have thought from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Your 3 must be very different than my 3. then.
it's a 3 based more on optimistic potential
Okay.
for the book, because I feel like I mean, based on what you guys have said, I'm sure it does go to very good, or at least good places, and gets better. I mean, yeah. So it's a hopeful 3. It's a 3 of I am putting my faith in this book and gonna continue and don't let me down. I may revise my review later.
Fair enough. I am 3.5.
3.5?
Yeah. That's, for me, that's a good review.
Actually, yes, I can attest to that.
Seriously, anything below 3 is bad, and 4 and 5 is excellent, and 3 is good.
No, see, 5 is excellent. For me, I gave the book 4 stars on Goodreads because despite some of my confusions, it was a brilliant story. The storyline was really good. And I liked many of the characters, particularly Zod. That's all I got, yeah. I gave it 4 stars because it is actually quite a good read, and I do recommend that people read it. Would you like to pick the next one then? You're back. Damn it. There you go.
That should count.
But, no.
Why? Alright.
Because I fail.
Ooh. I appreciate this.
Oh, really?
You will too.
What is it?
The Phantom Toll Booth.
Oh, yay!
That was one of your suggestions, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so The Phantom Toll Booth is our next book. We won't be reviewing The Crow next. That'll have
Pirates
to be
of the
done.
Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean next week, so do stay tuned. If you have a book suggestion, leave a comment down below in the comments or tweet us at Silverstag Studio. That's Silverstag STDIO because they wouldn't let me fit the U in. With the title of the book with the hashtag NATRT book. Right, I think that's everything. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, bye.
How much alcohol did you drink?